And I just started the recording as well.
All right. Welcome to the Stafford Hamlet Community Meeting, CPO, Stafford, Lower Tualatin Valley CPO meeting, and the Hamlet board meeting, the trifecta. So this evening, we're going to get to be introduced to Catherine Dixon at the beginning of our agenda, who is involved with, I don't know if she's the director, but she'll be speaking for them tonight, Beeline Foundation. And I know very little about the organization, but we're all going to learn. And there's a number of local folks that are involved. Sounds like they do good work. And Catherine, if you're out there and available, raise your hand, and Garrett can throw your picture up for us all to see and take it away. Hi.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Catherine Dickinson, and I started Beeline almost 4 years ago. And I also live in the Hamlet and love it. So thank you for everything you guys are doing, and thank you for having me tonight. So Beeline is a 501c3 nonprofit, and the reason that I decided to start one had kind of a three-pronged thing. We had 3 little kids, and it didn't really make sense for me to work anymore. So I stopped working, but I missed having something outside of my house that was important to me. So, and then my husband, who happens to be a principal in the area of a high school, he frequently just had little needs that would come up at his school that were not things that could be fulfilled by traditional mechanisms at the school. And then my 8th grade English teacher at the same time had been running a very similar organization in the town that we grew up in. And I'd been kind of watching it and admiring it from afar. And all those things kind of combined for me to just take the leap and start a nonprofit. And I talked to a few friends, and they were in, and we got the designation as 501c3. So what we do is we partner with all of the Westland, Wilsonville, Lake Oswego schools, so that if any child or family has an immediate need, the school counselor or someone on the administration team can just send me a quick email with a just short description of what the family or child needs. And we try to get things done in about 48 to 72 hours. So we're kind of different than a lot of organizations that help, where we don't have any income requirements. We don't have any paperwork that needs to be filled out. It's pretty quick, it's pretty painless, and we provide one-time help up to about $300. So it's not a huge amount of money, but it often is enough to help people, not have their heat shut off or help out with rent, things like that. And then we also have expanded to now include the Clackamas WIC program, the Women, Infant, and Children's program. And we also now serve a few of the DHS offices who work with foster kids and also families who are at risk of having their children removed from their home. So we don't have any specific things that we only help with or any requirements of that nature. So basically whatever a need is that a family and a counselor or a social worker perceives as a need for a family, we can help with. So we get a huge range of requests, and we usually can just say yes. We try to pay directly to like property management companies. We pay PGE and Northwest Natural bills all the time. We've done like eyeglasses and some help with dental bills for kids, things like that. And that stuff all gets just paid directly to the providers that are providing the services. So sometimes the family will get gift cards to purchase certain things, especially for teens to choose clothing or things like that. But a lot of times we're paying directly to whatever the company is that the family has the debt or the payment that needs to be helped out with. And 100% of the donations that we get go back out. So no one makes any money in Beeline. We don't reimburse for mileage or anything. It's all just 100% in, 100% out. And we're all just doing it because we want to help our community. And I think a lot of people would be surprised that in our area, there's actually quite a lot of need, even before COVID. But since COVID, the demand is skyrocketing. So there is on our website, we do have a donation link if anyone likes how we operate and what we do. And then also I have a list of people that I keep emails of, and if we have a specific need that we think we could get donated, I do ask for things such as bunk beds, things like that, that people tend to kind of have and might be willing to donate, and then we coordinate that. Does that sum it up in a nutshell? And hopefully I didn't too long.
Yes, it's great. Thank you. And I just typed your website into the chat in case anybody wants it. And Katie Kreider, did you happen to make a sheet about Beeline? So here it is for everybody. It's the website link, beelinefoundation.org. And it is in the chat box in case anybody wants it after this sheet comes down.
And one thing I did for actually kind of central to how we operate is I also strive for it to be very, very transparent. So about every month or 6 weeks, I post on our website and on social media, everything that we've spent the money on down to the penny. So when people donate, they know exactly where their money is going, because personally, I like to either donate goods or items or food to the Westland Food Bank to, because then I know exactly where my money is going and what's going on. And so money is actually the most helpful donation for us, but I think people have a right to know where it goes. So we post it and share what we've spent the money on. Okay, I think that's it.
Oh, that's great. So the Beeline comes from the fact that it's whatever the crisis is or whatever the need is, you're there real quick. I mean, that 24 to 72 hour thing is, I mean, that's pretty crazy fast. So good for you.
Yeah. Thank you. You got it. That's exactly it. My youngest daughter's name happens to be B, and so everyone always thinks that we named Beeline after her, but she's Beatrice, and it's supposed to be a direct link from the person to the need, a quick, fast, direct link. You got it. If anyone has any questions, I'm totally open to answering them, or I will let you guys get on with your meeting. I know you have a lot to cover.
Looks like John has his hand raised.
Thank you. So you mentioned there was an increased need during the pandemic. Can you characterize what the need has changed, or is it still the same, or just more intensive?
It's more the frequency with which we're getting the requests. So this past, I think about 5 weeks, we got 26 requests, which is really, really high compared to the same time last year. I'm a bit of a data nerd, and so I have a bunch of Google Sheets, and I like to do a lot of comparisons, and I don't know exactly the percentage increase, but it feels I am way busier than I've ever been with Beeline, and it's mostly rent and utilities and internet, because kids are all online, right? And so people cannot have their internet shut off, but it's not a utility. So I think it can get canceled. So it's kind of a tricky thing right now for people. So we're doing a ton of bill payments at the moment.
Thank you. That's great.
Patty, like,
Yeah, I was just curious if you have do you have a fundraising, event, or, how are you getting the word out that you need donations? And then my other question is, it seems like your the people who are sort of vetting the need are the people in the school district, and so you don't actually have individuals directly coming to you. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct. So for your second question, you're correct. So we actually try to keep the help confidential, and mostly anonymous. So I actually often do not know the names of anyone that we're helping. I used to work in research in public health, and I really firmly believe that it's important to keep privacy. And we live in a small town, so I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable asking for help through the counselor, knowing that they might know me in our community. And so I usually don't know who we're helping, because I can just take, a PG account number and call and make the payment over the phone. So it works out that way. And if I can't do it anonymously, then I definitely keep everything really confidential. And then your first question about fundraising, we usually do have events, and it's been really hard with the pandemic because we can't do events. So we just did a virtual turkey trot for Thanksgiving, where people donated a suggested amount and then did a 5K on their own time. And that actually worked really well. And then the updates that I do post, I think people get inspired and moved by what we're doing. And then it reminds them, oh, maybe I haven't donated in a while. And so they'll donate. I try not to ask for donations because it's just something I don't really enjoy doing very much. But when we get really desperate, I do have a list that I'll send out a plea, like, we're almost out of money. And I did do that in November, and that really helped, just because we were getting so many requests, and we really can't, it's really hard to fundraise right now. So it's a tricky situation. Good questions.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. The only thing, I guess, I mean, I know that Jana had mentioned that Anna is involved with you, she's been good, very supportive and a volunteer for us in the past. The Family Fest might be a vehicle for you to have some folks sit down. There's the nonprofits and community organizations can have a booth for free. And if we can get it off the ground this year, depending on how all of our respective risk factors play out, it's a good place to contact, because it's a kid-related activity. And there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 plus people that tend to show up and take advantage of it. So there's that you never know who's going to show up and be be somebody that you can get on board to help you on whatever level. So anyway, we'll keep you in mind. You keep us in mind, and as this thing gets closer and we can make a decision. Katie Kreider had taken it over last year, but we had to cancel. So I'm sure she's noting this as I'm talking. But anyway, this has been great, Catherine. Thanks so much for sharing with us, and I'm sure that some of the community that's listening in will see the potential that you represent.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you all too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think the next topic of discussion here from the Hamlet's perspective is that we've got a big vote coming up. We have candidates. I want to say there's six candidates running for the Stafford Hamlet board. We'll address the 4 candidates for the CPO board in the next portion of the meeting, but this is all going to be done virtually. And that's not to say that you can't vote with a hard copy. You just have to request that from the county as opposed to going online and voting. There will be questions to verify your residence. The CPO portion, which again is the next portion of the meeting, is a different footprint or a different border than the Hamlet. All of the Hamlet is within the CPO, but not all of the CPO is within the Hamlet. So there's a portion of the CPO that's outside. But all of the Hamlet gets to vote for CPO, and then the CPO folks that are outside as well. And if you go to staffordhamlet.com /vote, that'll get you into the voting format and allow you to take advantage of that. And there's my name and number are there, as are a few other folks. So if it doesn't work out or there's confusion, not that I could necessarily help you in the confusion, but I could help get somebody that could help you. It'll be a new way to do business. We just felt like we put off the CVP vote, the community vision plan vote, since last April, and it just worked out both from our perspective and the county's perspective to do all this at once. So there's a bunch of voting going on, and that's what the signs that you will see up within the community about retaining the rural flavor of the Hamlet, and there'll be more signs probably to follow depending on how this starts to play out. So with that, unless somebody wants to add something to that, I guess, overview, I'm going to turn it over to Rich Fiala, whose farm it is that we have the Family Fest at, not to plug yet the Family Fest one more time, who will explain and read to you the community vision plan, which is one of the voting pieces in this election. Richard.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everybody. My name is Richard Fiala. I'm vice chair of the Hamlet, and I've been asked to go over the CVP as we have had in the past, and especially now we're at the eve of the beginning of our election timeframe. Brief history: to become part of to have our Hamlet formed, the county required us to go ahead and have a community vision plan. So in 2015, the board at that time presented a community vision plan to our members, and a vote was taken, and 86% of the voters approved that community vision plan. Well, that is available on our website, the old plan, and things have changed. In 2018, the Hamlet's area and others were brought into what is now called the urban reserve, excuse me. And as in the urban reserve, what we had suggested as our community vision plan needed to be changed. So your current board got together and looked at the existing community vision plan and wrote a new community vision plan. You'll find it on staffordhamlet.com. Katie's going to go ahead and put a slide up of that new community vision plan, please. There we are. So you can read it. It's 101 words long. The intent of this community vision plan is, and its focus is, encourage conservation and promote active agriculture. Those are two very large desires for us. And without reading it to you, you guys can go ahead and read it. And again, you can find it on the website. The hope from the board is that we can get a very, very large especially in this remote voting capability world that we're in now, a large turnout to really be able to express to the surrounding cities as well as Clackamas County and Metro how we feel the Stafford Hamlet should look. So it's pretty simple, very basic. We don't put anybody in boxes, and we've got a scenario here for you which is lofty and doable, and we ask you to come out and really help us by putting your vote in. We're not asking you telling you how to vote, but please come and vote. It's pretty darn simple this year. So with that, I'll turn it back.
Thank you, Richard. As always, well done. We have, I believe, although I can see that one of our board members who is running for the Hamlet board is not here. I don't know if anybody's heard from Len, but Len's not only running for the board, he's also running for the CPO board position as well. But I think the rest of the folks that are candidates are either board members now or will be running in the near future, are all in attendance. I believe I mentioned the staffordhamlet.com /vote. The other piece that you're going to get in the mail, which is it's either being mailed tomorrow or maybe has already been mailed and will be there within the next few days, are postcards that lay out this process that Richard alluded to and that we've been talking about. So that's really where a lot of this information is, and then obviously on the website as well. I think also Katie Wilson, our liaison, who I believe is still listening in, said that some of the social media that's being used, Nextdoor, and others will click in after tonight and also make people aware. So having said all that, by alphabetical order, not by beauty, age, or anything else, we're going to start with Katie Kreider.
Bill, can I ask a quick question?
Of course you can, Patty.
Well, I think we just need to clarify the postcards are going out to all the residents to inform them of this vote. And people can vote online or they can request a mail ballot. But I think to actually vote, they have to go to our website to that and click on that link. And then that will take them to where they vote. Is that right?
That's as I understand it. I mean, again, but I think the card gives them the opportunity to get a hard copy of the ballot if they're not comfortable doing that. So, but what is being mailed, what Katie and a bunch of you have all put together is kind of the, that's the key to unlock this, because it's got the tools. Yeah.
I'm gonna just pop in really quick and
great.
say that we don't have the links on the website yet. It is probably will happen tonight, but I'm gonna post them in the chat box for anybody that wants them. So there's two different links. One is if you live in the CPO, but you don't live in the Hamlet boundaries, there's a link for you. You've got a single issue you're voting on, which is the CPO board. And if you do live in the Hamlet boundaries, then you've got three issues: the Hamlet board, CPO board, and CVP vote. And so I'll post those in the chat, and I'll also see if I can link to the Hamlet map so that you can clarify where you live in case you aren't sure.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. That's great. Okay, so now we're going to start with our first a board member, but a candidate again as well. Katie Kreider, take it.
Hi there. My name is Katie Kreider. I am running for one position, one of two positions, under 5 acres. I am running for a second term, which is 2 years on the board of the Stafford Hamlet. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to read kind of the bio that I have on the website. I'd like to run for a second term to serve on the Stafford Hamlet Board of Directors because our work continues and the future of the Hamlet continues to be uncertain. I feel passionate about this place, growing up just a mile from where we live today. I spent my childhood in Stafford riding my horse through fields and forests that are now housing subdivisions. As the belt of the urban growth boundary continues to expand around us, we find ourselves at a crossroads and in the crosshairs of development and growth. I believe the Stafford, as defined by the Hamlet's Community Vision Plan, is a tremendous value to not just the people that live here, but also the surrounding communities. As a member of the board, I'll continue to offer my passion and perseverance to continue to carry out the vision as set forth by the Hamlet. Thanks for your consideration. And not only do I love the place where I live, but I've really grown fond of all the people that I'm working with on the board. And we each bring our own individual kind of passions and interests and history here in the Hamlet to serving on the board as an advocate for our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. That was good. Patty Mamula is also a board member and our next candidate that we're going to get to hear from.
Hi. So Bill already told you my name is Patty Mamula, and I live at 21357 Sweetbriar Road, down the street from Katie, down the street from Bill, down the street from another candidate who's running. So we have a lot of Sweetbriar people represented on our board. We've lived here for 25 years, but my involvement with the workings of the Hamlet really started about 4 years ago when we had our first Family Fest, which is a wonderful fall community event that I really hope we're able to celebrate this year. I've been on the board for the past 2 years and would like to serve for another 2 years to continue our work on outreach to community residents, new residents, and longtime residents. I'm also interested in bringing more Hamlet residents to get involved and volunteer to promote the Hamlet. And we have many challenges ahead and need to be continually educating our community, our surrounding municipalities, and our region. Many people have put in a great deal of time and effort to support our new community vision plan. Once it passes, fingers crossed, we can move forward with getting a small farms program and sustainable agriculture in the Hamlet. Thank you.
Well done, Patty Mamula. Thanks. Tate Morgan is next up on the list. Garrett, are you? Oh, well, look at that. Say the
Should
name.
be coming in now.
Shows up. Okay, take it away, Tate.
I just got promoted. I was wondering why I wasn't special enough to get on the video, and then here I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, okay, you can. All right. Well, my wife and I just bought this property on Wisteria probably 3 years ago. But I'm a native Oregonian, was actually the first 7th grade class to graduate from Athey Creek, Westland alumni. I went to school with a Mamula, so I think he might have been a year or two younger than I was. I was 97. Patty, is that correct? Did you have a son that?
See, I had one that graduated in 95, one that graduated in 96 and one that graduated in 2000.
Okay, yeah, I was smack dab right in the middle of them.
Yeah.
So
You were surrounded by them.
yeah, probably. We just moved back. We were in Bend during kind of the big heyday, and then moved back home after the recession in 2008. Lived on the other side of the hill until this property came available, and we moved here definitely for its rural nature. And so I know that this fight is one that Mr. Mart has been fighting for a long, long time, and so it's something that I'm confident that we can continue to stave off. This area is very special to me. I pretty much grew up down the street on the Munson Ranch. I think if we're going in alphabetical order, you'll probably be hearing from him next. So my past profession was as a developer and real estate broker. I kind of know the ins and outs of how all those things work. Right now, I run a couple different outdoor kind of adventure rallies, one of which is called the Gambler 500. If you guys were at the Fiala Fest back in 2018, you would have seen our big crazy monster truck and the yellow Miata and some of the other weird stuff I drive around town. Hand in hand with that is we also have the Sons of Smoky, which is my 501c3 nonprofit, of which is responsible for about 1 million pounds of trash being removed from public land. So I very much celebrate kind of rural lifestyle. Everyone can go live in the city that wants to do it there, but I'd really like to retain, especially in this day and age, the type of lifestyle we have here in the Hamlet. So I'd be fighting hard for that. So I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Tate. Well, way to show up and get involved. And he did a little segue there to his friend Andy Munson. And trust me, I know both of these guys, and having the two of them on the board is going to be special on so many levels. Andy Munson, say a few words.
You guys hear me all right? All right, cool. My name's Andy Munson. I live at 22145 South Wisteria. You've probably seen me toiling on this house for the past 6 years or so. Bill actually helped set the trusses on the house the day that was happening, and I was kind of panicking. But I've been in the area since I was 5. We moved in '86 from Laurel Street over in Lake Oswego. My parents came out here to get a little more rural. And back then it was a lot more rural, even so than it is now. It was just as Hidden Springs was starting to take off. And I remember just all the classmates, they would have everybody raise their hands, and you'd find out a lot of people, had come in from out of state to move here. But I made a lot of friends either way. But yeah, I want to preserve, what we've got out here. I remember, over the years, my folks getting involved, and, there being brushes with, development, and everybody getting kind of fired up. And it seems like this is a very intelligent way to go about making sure that we preserve our future, and we work symbiotically with everybody around us, and not just pick up the swords when we can use the pen. So yeah, I look forward to being more involved, and it's pretty cool to have a lot of you that I know personally, already on the board, and some of you that I don't, but knowing that, there's a whole new group of people getting active. I'd say some of my passions that, kind of Tate was touching on are the Gambler 500, and then our trail cleanup, and, just making sure that our area around here is cleaned up and that people respect that. So, working with the community, making sure that we've got, getting stuff cleaned up. And I think I mentioned in my write-up that tracking down people that litter, and maybe letting them become aware that they shouldn't trash this wonderful place. So oftentimes it's education. That's a lot of what we do with Gambler 500 and Sons of Smoky. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I was oh, there we go. Okay, well closed. Then that was nice. That was a nice touch, the olive branch. That's always good to have an olive branch, even if you're, you know, doing a little flogging with it, still it's an olive branch. I think Len, unless somebody's heard from Len,
Rich has his hand raised.
Who does?
Yeah.
I don't know if Len's on or not, but if I could be so kind as to just mention that Len and his family goes back to 1868 in our Hamlet area. He's been a long time serving board member of the Hamlet and real activist on this and keeping the CPO going. And just wanted to give those little bit of information if you don't know anything about Mr. Schaber. Wonderful man, and supports not only the Hamlet and the CPO very well. And that's all.
And as a sidebar, if you've come to the Family Fest and you've had your car with you and you've parked it, it was probably Len or somebody Len was overseeing that got the car parked. Now, if the car got damaged, that's also Len. But nevertheless, Len's our guy that takes care of all the car issues and a lot more. That's just a way to remember Len. So, yeah. Definitely not afraid to get his hands dirty. Kelsey Vu, can Garrett, can you hook us up with Kelsey?
There she is.
Kelsey is
Hello.
should be good and ready to go.
Hey there. All right. Take it, Kelsey. Thanks for showing up.
Hi there. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. So hi, thank you, Bill. As he said, I'm Kelsey. I also live on Sweetbriar along with Patty and Bill and Katie. So I'm the other Sweetbriar resident. Our family moved here probably about a year ago now. My husband grew up in Oregon, but I actually grew up in New Hampshire. And the area that I'm from was very rural. And so coming to the Stafford Hamlet was such a treasure to me because it really reminds me of where I grew up. Even in a short time we've been here, we've met so many just kind community members. The Hamlet itself is really just such a treasure. We have a little hubby farm where we live right now in Sweetbriar, where we raise a lot of chickens and a lot of quails. I'm a mom, I have 2 little kids. And I just really love that they can run around outside and play and enjoy just this special area that really is so rare right now. And so I'm happy to just lend myself in any way to help preserve that. Yeah, and I look forward to continuing to be a member of the community and helping out however I can. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thanks for showing up. And actually, the Sweetbriar connection, it's pretty much it's the water. I mean, that's all I can say. Is it gets everybody all pumped up to volunteer. So thanks for letting the water flow through you. So I don't know if some of the other board members want to address any of what's been said. It makes me feel good that we've got 3 new, they probably don't think of themselves as young, but when you're old like me, you guys look really young, and that's exciting. So young family folks, young folks that are energized, this is good. So thanks for putting your names in the hat, and we'll hope everything with the election goes well. So having said that, rest of the board, anything you want to close out the community meeting with?
Bill, did you see that chat question from Rick Cook? He just wanted people to know how many slots were open and how many candidates,
Bill, you are
You're
muted.
muted.
And that was the best part of the meeting right there.
Yeah.
There's a candidate for each open position. I want to say Lynn is in the over 5 acre. Katie said that she was under 5, I believe. Patty, are you at large or under 5?
I believe I'm at large. Yeah.
Okay. Andy is replacing a board member that resigned. So he's going to have to run again next year, but he's at large. Tate and Kelsey, I don't remember which positions you guys, I mean, it says on the ballot or online, but it's either
Kelsey is under 5. Kelsey's under 5. Patty's at large. Tate is at large. Andy is also at large, but midterm.
Right.
And Katie Kreider's under 5.
Under 5. Okay.
There we go. That's it. So to Rick's point, yes, that's what the positions are, and I think what happens in these cycles is the vote next year will be still 2 at large, but there'll be 1 under 5 acre and 2 over 5 acres. So there's 3 total over 5 acres, 3 total under 5 acres, and 4 at large.
Okay.
And that is, there'll be a civics test on that in the near future. Anyway, besides Rick's point, is there anything else anybody else would like to bring up before we move on to the CPO meeting? Okay, crickets, we're moving on. So the fact that Len isn't in the meeting, I guess I'm going to take this thing and run with it. I don't know that there's any new applications. If there is, they didn't come through the mail and from me and were passed on to Lynn. And I think Bill Long's the only other one that's going to the post office box. So if he didn't get any and pass them on to Lynn, then I'm going to assume there wasn't anything new. However, the Willamette United Soccer Club was brought up in front of the county commissioners today. I want to say that Paul Savas was absent and Sonia Fisher abstained, and the other 3 county commissioners, Humberston, Schrader, and Bernard, all voted not to hear the, essentially, I guess it's an appeal. If we have questions, somebody that's been deeply involved in this, Mitch Jones, will be next up on the agenda to be a CPO board member, and he can fill in those blanks. But as I understand it, they chose not to address, make any statement either in support or against or anything else. And I think that still gives them the latitude to do that later. But I'll let Mitch take the rest of that. So that's the only thing that I'm aware of that is CPO and has been quite a hot topic for quite a while now in the CPO. That being said, we've got 4 candidates for the CPO board, which in my lifetime has never been the case, and that's really wonderful. We're very excited about it. Mitch Jones, John Mccabe, Lynn Schaber, and Randy Yamada all have with their willingness put their names in the hat to be candidates for these 4 board positions. So if Garrett, if you can hook us up with Mitch and he can say a few words, that would be terrific.
Do you want me to move the other candidates back over?
Yeah, that'd be
Andy
good.
and okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that we don't like you guys. It's just, there's only so much space.
All right, and Mitch Jones should be able to turn his video and mic on now.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, Mitch. But you have to unmute yourself, bud.
I'll start over. Hey guys, thanks for having me. So I just some background. I live in Clackamas County for about 30 years. For about 16 of those years, I've lived in the Stafford, Tualatin Valley CPO. It's outside the Hamlet. Although I'll admit that I didn't know I lived there in the Hamlet or the CPO until 18 months ago. And that's about May of last year. We got the notification that the Willamette Soccer Club was going to build a world-class athletic facility, 300 feet from my house, my property. I live across the street from the Eck Century Farm. If you drive down Eck Road, you see the barn down by the road. That's our property. We have 2 5-acre parcels right there, and we literally, if you go to corner to corner, we're on 300 feet where the soccer facility would be built, and that's right next door to the South Lake Church. You probably all aware of this before. I've came and spoken to the CPO before to give a status, back in the day when we actually got together. So I was actually part of the group that we formed called Keep Borland Rural to oppose the soccer club, and it's been 18 months of learning and understanding of the legal issues, the political issues. It's been really quite a fight, expensive in fact as well. But I've it's a very complicated situation, a lot of time consuming, so many studies and things I've done, to try and help our group, and our people have been really great too. A lot of good, smart people submitting good stuff to try and help. But the county made a mistake a couple of years ago by basically doing a similar use determination that really was not properly noticed, and that's why we're battling still. Had they talked about this, this thing could have been settled 3 years ago. So it's really been, I think, now the county is trying to justify what they did before, I believe, and it's this situation, which is 180,000 square feet of soccer fields and 33,000 square feet of a training center building, 18,000 square feet of they call it offices and storage, whatever. This is nothing rural. I mean, you're talking literally 5,000 people on soccer tournament weekends. They'll be there. It's just crazy. And what happened today actually is a good thing, I think, with the board of commissioners saying no, because we want to go straight to LUBA and get LUBA to make a ruling on some of the interpretations and some of the language that is necessary. Before we go back to the board. Ultimately, we're going to have to get this thing to close. It's very hard to do because you can keep appealing and appealing. We have actually 2 appeals going on at the same time, but I won't go into that. I could talk all night about that. I'm sorry, but anyway, I've been working through all this for the last 18 months, and so I guess because I came out from beneath my rock that I was under for 14 years, whatever. Some of the CPOs noticed, and I got asked to if I would consider to run for the board, and I thought about it, and I'm passionate about what's going on with the rural area here. And so I said, I agreed to do that. And I think that I can help, work with the community and the county, and ultimately maybe it's even, the urban reserves area and the metro, who knows what, but I certainly have a passion for, making sure that the community's looked after and the county's doing the right thing. Because they're not right now. I mean, I don't believe what they're doing is correct. It's just maybe that's my opinion, but I think that nobody would want to live next door to that place, not even the board of commissioners. And when I think I feel like there's no way LUBA could see this is okay when we do this next. They'll come back to the county again. It'll go back to the planning department. They'll say the same thing. This is okay, and then we'll go to the commissioners. Hopefully, we can convince them this is not right. But anyway, I won't say anything more, but I think I could, work with everyone here and to get help support the community, in this space. Any questions, you can let me know.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, no, it's those of us that have been around you and seen you in action. There's no mystery to the fact that you're passionate about this, and you've taken that passion and run with it. So we're very appreciative of your willingness to be involved in yet another organization, and one that takes, certainly not the degree of time that you've put into this, but time. And so thank you. But you also have a lot of knowledge, hard learned, I'm sure. But
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks so much for your willingness to be involved. So
Thank you.
And speaking to us tonight. I think next up is John Mccabe. Can you help us with John?
Yeah. I believe John is on the phone, he said. So, John, I've allowed you to talk. Let's see if that works.
I guess I'm in now. Heard?
We can hear you, John.
Okay, I'm John Mccabe.
I'm not sure what that clicking sound is.
John, can you hear us?
He's muted.
He's
muted.
He's muted.
Yeah. John, you can press *6 to unmute yourself. We're having a little trouble hearing your phone. Well, we might have a little issue trying to get John on here right now.
Okay. Oh, no.
Okay, how about now?
No, that's good. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I live on Mikan Lane, and for people that have been in this area for a long time, those that went to Weston High School, Rose Mikan, my mother-in-law, Mike and my father-in-law, and they've done farming in this area for 100 years. And I guess where that helps is my son went to Cornell, and he's considered one of the top dairy students in the country. So when we talk about small farms, it really works, and it works for my son. I mean, my son has benefited from it. So I have been involved with the CPO before the Hamlet occurred. And when the Hamlet occurred, because we were only the CPO only, that's where I was. And essentially where a lot of you have seen any of my handiwork now, which isn't good, is the letter that's come out from the school district saying, oops, we charged you too much on your property taxes for the bonds.
Yeah.
I was the one that went out and told them, hey, and there was a letter in the tidings, and they were like, oh, you're a liar. And then they looked it up and they go, oh no, he's right. But they're blaming US Bank, and it was their fault for doing it. And as hard as I worked on that, that is how hard I will work in this position here. The only thing I can request is on the ballot right now, if you go to vote for people, you only can vote for one for whatever reason on the Survey Monkey.
Really?
Even though it says, even though it says you can vote for up to 4, it's only allowing 1 vote.
Oh, well, we have to rectify that because that's,
we will deal with that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then put an N on the end of my name. But I have to agree, Mitch is an excellent person for this, and so is Lynn. And hopefully it'll be a good. I'll put in a heck of a lot of effort with a lot of the stuff that's now happening, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
John, could you tell us again where you live? You kind of went out right when you were saying.
Okay, it's called 435 Mikan Lane, and it's down in what was used to be called the Bosque Dale area.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody put Field Creek's Bridge, but that area has been known as Bosque Dale.
Right. Okay, I know where. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
In fact, the one thing that can help is when my kids were young, we're the house that had the pumpkins that were the money for that was for college,
oh, yeah.
the college fund. that's us.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for getting involved, John. So Len just texted me and said that he missed the meeting, wasn't on his calendar. I said it's not too late. I don't know if that's going to resonate or not. But in his absence, we still have Randy Yamada. And if you can hook us up with Randy, that'd be great, Garrett.
Lynn's here. I'm seeing Lynn.
Lynn, you're seeing Lynn? There he is, bud. Hey, Randy, you got to wait just one more candidate before you get to come on board here and talk to us. Lynn, you came in just at the moment when you get to speak about the CPO. We already filled in the blanks for everybody about what kind of a Stafford Hamlet board member you'd make. Now you get to tell everybody what kind of a CPO board member you're going to make. Both of those, you've got a lot of track history. So take it away.
Just going to get myself unmuted here. Well, other than the fact that I just didn't get it on my calendar for tonight, it was pretty full for the last couple of days, but we'll get into that. The CPO is, as you know, the only way of getting connection between the citizens that live out here in the unincorporated area and the Clackamas County hierarchy. And so far we've been doing hopefully a halfway decent job of getting the word passed and their ears singed a little bit by what we say and what we think. And I'd like to continue in doing that. And as your CPO chair, I will try to do the best I can to facilitate the process and make sure the county doesn't slacken their support of us here in the unincorporated area. There's a lot of things coming, and I know it's those things that everybody has their own way of looking at it, and I appreciate that. I'd like to hear what you have to say and what you have to think, and we'll try to pass it on to the county. Thank you.
So before you go, Lynn, were there any, and thanks for jumping in here and taking that off the cuff. That was great. Was there anything that came through? I addressed a little bit and Mitch a bit more about the status of the Willamette United Soccer Club appeals. Was there anything else that came through either in letter form or email regarding the CPO this last month?
Oh, nothing that I've seen other than what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what we thought. I mean, there wasn't anything in the mailbox, and so we assumed that nothing had come, but we weren't sure. So, thanks. So, in his infinite patience, Randy Yamada is next up here. Thanks for waiting around, Randy, and give us the lowdown. Give us the Randy Yamada. This is why I would make a great candidate for the CPO board. You're gonna have to pull your mute off, Randy. There.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Take it, Randy.
Okay. Yeah, Bill asked me called up and asked me to get involved in the CPO. And I've lived here since 1978 and saw the formation of the Hamlet and have been peripherally involved in the Hamlet through Carol Yamada, who you all know, and or at least the folks showing up on the board here all know. And I was got interested in the some of the things that were happening with the athletic complexes that were being proposed. And so I have some, I'm an architect, and I have some knowledge of the technical processes that are necessary for planning the planning and zoning of projects similar to these types of facilities. And through many years of being an architect. And I think I just thought that I should be getting involved in this. I'm semi-retired, and so I have some more time to actually do some things that I would have liked to have done a lot earlier, but I was just too busy to do them. And so that's sort of where that's how I got interested in doing this. And I know, having known all you folks for many years, I think it would be an enjoyable thing to do too. So I guess that's my spiel for tonight.
Well, that's great. And if I mentioned when I asked you, if I mentioned the fact that yes, this is going to be very enjoyable, because that was one of the things that Randy was concerned about. He said, "Is this really going to be as much fun as my wife would come home and tell me all the time?" And I said, "Absolutely, even more fun." And so that was it. I mean, sale made. Anyway, thanks for throwing your hat in the ring, Randy. Really do appreciate it, and the fact that you're bringing a unique perspective to help us along in that regard.
Okay.
Thank you. So the only other thing on the CPO meeting agenda was we voted. I want to say it was either last month or the previous month about the revisions to the CPO bylaws, and that when we examined those, it put a right square in our face that besides running the CPO like we've been running it for a number of years, was critical to have a slate of board members that two of which have to always be there if there's going to be a vote taken. And it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Len, who's definitely carried the pack for a number of years, both on his own and with Walt Gamble before Walt retired. So yeah, we're moving forward here, and I think one of the things that was mentioned earlier is just how the two areas kind of coexist, but don't really have the same borders. And I think the county would very much like that alignment. I mean, they're making that statement with more emphasis as time goes on, and we just have to go through the hoops to make that happen. So anyway, thanks to all of you for volunteering to be candidates and be involved in our election. And with that, unless somebody else has something they want to add to the, and this can be people from out in the audience too. If you want to raise your hand, there's a little place for you to do that on your Zoom message board there. Feel free, but if there isn't anything, I think we'll move on to the board meeting, the Hamlet board meeting. So we'll pause here for just a second and see if a hand goes up, and if not,
Lynn does have his hand up.
Well, take it away.
one thing that I just thought of and was brought up as a comment, I've heard some dissension, I guess you'd say, with the school's plan of putting in a storage shed on the property just north of Stafford Primary School. And I want to bring that question up to see if anyone else had any aversions to that happening. What I've heard is, or the comments I've heard are the fact that a warehouse type structure in RFF5 areas is not appropriate. So that's kind of one thing I'd just like to mention, bring up if it's an item for discussion or not.
Yeah. This is actually your part of the meeting. So I guess if you want to have discussion, I don't know where this is, and maybe somebody else does, or you do, where this is in the Westland Wilsonville School District process. I mean, they did come back with a revised proposal, but I don't know where they are in this process, whether they're taking public testimony, whether they're starting the process over. I don't know. So
as far as I know, they have not applied for a conditional use permit process yet. So I just wanted to see if we had any, let's say, opposition to that at this point that would be of any consequence. I've only heard it from two people, so that's why I brought the question up.
Okay. Patty?
Well, when this originally came up, I don't know if you remember, there was actually quite a bit of discussion about it. And there was, I don't know if it was the whole board, but quite a few people on the board really had questions about the access. They were going to be driving to access this property. They were going to be driving into the parking lot of Stafford Primary School, which is already, very, very, very congested. So they were going to be driving into that parking lot and then, I believe, taking a right into the storage area. So I think there was a lot of question about that access. Katie Kreider sent a letter to the Westland Wilsonville School District, and they actually made some adjustments to the project based on that letter. But there have been no adjustments to the way they're going to access that storage facility. And I think that's still a problem, considering the high traffic that goes into that parking lot. I think it's a problem.
Well, the comments that I have heard, again, just a few, concerning the fact that the property goes all the way to the river. And I guess a conflict as far as a warehouse structure on a piece of property that would be close to the river. I know they moved the location away from the road because that was an initial consideration, being too close to the road. We moved it back away from the road, but I just thought I'd mention this as a topic to see if it would need further discussion.
Hey, Lynn.
Go ahead.
This is Rich. So I don't know if this would be doable or not, and if it would really make much difference. But what if the access to the building was still in the new driveway they're proposing off of the main entrance, but the requirement was that those trucks, anything going to that building, came through the Athey Creek Middle School road or the access road that's in between the two schools, and not let them enter and exit at Stafford Road. Just trying to think outside the box.
Well, I have no comment on that as far as I can see there'd be a problem either way.
Yeah, one of the problems might be because where that entrance from Stafford Road to the elementary school or the primary school, it sort of splits. And I'm thinking trucks trying to navigate through the staff parking lot, you know, to drop back onto that is just hard all the way around.
You're muted, Bill.
You're muted.
One of the things that showed up, John Mccabe, who's been real involved in this, says that there's a hearing, Westland Wilsonville School District, about the storage building on the 22nd of December, which is, I don't know, we're at the 8th, so 22nd, would that be a Friday, the Friday before Christmas? Whenever, it's the 22nd. And evidently, if they're having a hearing, then they are still taking testimony. So
the 22nd is a Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So it's essentially 2 weeks from today. And that's, you know, I assume that's on the Westland Wilsonville School District, you know, calendar. I mean, if John knows it, I'm sure a lot of other folks do. So that would be the place to both listen in and also give testimony. Anyway, anybody else? Then no other CPO business. I'm going to move on to the Hamlet board meeting. And it's called to order, and I'm assuming, because we're mostly through the agenda at this point, not obviously the Hamlet board meeting agenda, but I'm assuming that everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda. And if I can get a motion to approve the agenda, that would be wonderful.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. So motion's been made to approve the agenda. All those in favor, let's just raise our hands. Well, I guess actually some people don't have their their faces up there. Okay, a bunch of hands went up. Well done, John. Look how good you are with your screen. And all those opposed? Okay, well, we're going to approve the agenda. We're moving on. Minutes, Kate Roth sent out the minutes for both the community meeting and the board meeting. Hopefully you all had a chance to look at that. I'm always amazed at stuff I forget that she writes down that we actually did. Anyway, a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Someone want to second the
Second.
motion? Thank you. Approve minutes. All those in favor? A bunch of hands. I hear Janet.
Aye.
That qualifies. Thank you. All those opposed? All right. Minutes from the last November meeting are approved. Bill Long, you sent out the treasurer's report, which really was the bank review of the bank statement. Everybody have a chance to look at that?
Yes.
And did anybody have any urgent questions about the treasurer's report?
I am not receiving treasury reports. If Bill, if you would mind just re-emailing me like the last 3 months, because I don't have them and I haven't saved them to our files.
Coming at you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you're not going to be on the board anymore, so.
So what do I care?
Hey. You
I'm gonna have a big bonfire.
Seriously.
God, I love this mute thing, except you can't take control and mute the people. Anyway, okay. there might have been a reason though. Bill Long and I always, we have an ongoing, back and forth about, when we go to prison because there's a screw up in the treasurer's reporter and the money function, who gets the top bunk. So you not getting one, that's probably, one more check against us. Okay, so the board retreat is in.
Hang on. Bill, Bill Long, was there anything that you wanted to cover?
No, I'll just mention that we're still not getting timely bank statements, but Kelly Lute is getting online and forwarding the email to me. There's been no activity, so there's really no change. We have a prepaid printing invoice that I'm calling back in and will deposit. That was done just before the fiscal ended. But other than that, there's not much going on.
Well, and to that point, the reason that we did that is because we thought we were going to have to be spending money putting the community vision plan vote out. As is now, it's all blended together with the rest of the election pieces, the candidates. So, some portion of all that money can help the county buy down the cost of mailing out these cards. And I think what we did when we mailed out the cards initially in March or February to notify people is we just used that number. So anyway, that's
one other thing, Bill. As long as everybody's here, my son has a label company in Seattle area, and we just shouldn't be buying any labels. He'll do it for us for nothing when we need it. Labels. For what it's worth, just if something comes up.
Okay, good to know. Thanks so much, Bill. Anything else? Okay, we're gonna keep sliding along here. Then to my point, which was the board retreat, which is the 30th. It will be virtual. I think everybody has been notified, but in case they haven't, let's all have that on our calendars, because that's always a good event to get for the new people to get up to speed, and for those of us that aren't, we can catch up and work once again with Amy.
Bill, all the candidates know. All the candidates have been informed as well.
Yeah, they've been informed, but hopefully they're still on this thing, so it'll be a good reminder for them. And Carolyn will be brought. You'll bring Carolyn along, Jane. Great.
Thinking up all kinds, she's here now, but she's been thinking up all kinds of things she's going to pitch at you.
Oh, good. That's good. I mean, if there's anything a retreat or even a board meeting is, it's just an opportunity to pitch stuff. So that's great. That's what we swing the bats, we take the pitches inside and high, whatever it is, we're there. So I think, we're on board for the voting to take off. It was good. John tried to utilize the system, and it, we're beta testing it, I guess, for lack of a better term. So hopefully that isn't a big deal to get rectified. And the voting is, as you all should know, and I think the community should know, is quite a span. I mean, I think it starts tomorrow, or is supposed to start tomorrow, and it goes to January 19th, which is a week after our next board meeting on the 12th. So you really, those of you out there that are willing to help us both with the candidates and the CVP, don't put it off to the last minute, but you've definitely got a big opening there, a 5-week opening to vote.
Bill, can I say one thing about that?
Absolutely.
John, I'm so glad that he checked that, but Katie, while we were on the meeting, she updated the voting pages. So if anybody has already started it and come across that thing where you can only vote for one person instead of 2 or 4, refresh your page, just start fresh, and it will be all fixed. And then the only other thing is there's a mailing address line. It says if different than above. Katie's gonna fix that too, but in case she hasn't gotten to it, just put a dash or a X or whatever. It just requires something in the field in order for you to submit it. But that will be fixed, that it's not a requirement, but just maybe not right this moment if you're trying to vote right now.
Thanks, Jenna. So
I would make a comment that
sure.
We just need to spread the word to every neighbor, everybody on the street to get out and vote.
Yeah.
Jane, I'm talking to you.
No, that's a fact. I mean, it was an in-person vote, obviously back in 2015, and there was an excellent turnout, and hopefully we can achieve that or better this time for the CVP, and to validate the candidates that have are willing to step up and help your community. So yeah. Well said, Rich. Don't be shy. Get online and vote. That's how this thing goes. So there's things that pop up, which for me, I can talk and breathe, but that's about the limit of my duality anymore. As people have been typing things in, is anybody tracking that? I mean, are there questions or concerns that we need to be responding to down there? No, nobody else.
I think Jen has been taking care of most of it. There was some difficulties with with the vote, but thankfully people tried to vote tonight so that we could, get that, so that we could make sure that it actually works. So that was good. I think that's been taken care of.
Great.
There is one question in the chat. Has the Lusher Farm visit taken place yet? Are there any updates on what the future holds there?
The Lusher Farm visit. There's been Lusher Farm visits, but they've been not through us as much as they've been with Jeff Goodman and other either elected officials or officials that are candidates. There, I see a hand. Yes, Rick.
I was wondering if she was talking about the Lusher meeting we had with Ivan.
Yeah.
And the rec people.
That okay. I don't think. I mean, as far to that point, have any visits taken place?
Just what we did online with talking with Ivan.
Right. But that
and other than that, they're
isn't
open.
a visit per se. That's a discussion or an exchange with the Parks and Rec.
Right.
So whoever asked that question, there has been no physical visit that I know of. Although it sounds like Ivan would be willing to do that. Len Shaver has got a finger up.
Oh, question. Is there any scheduled visit coming up on any calendar? I mean, is there an open date where people are invited to come visit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And that would be, when you say that, that would be through either the CSA or through Ivan or through somebody affiliated with Lesher. Yeah, I'm not aware of it, but it sounded like from what I got from that meeting is he was more than willing to be involved in that regard. I mean, I don't know where you get left with I guess you'd be outside, so maybe it isn't as the concern that it is when you're obviously trying to have a meeting inside. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't know of any, Len.
And I guess my only question would be, and this is me for Katie Wilson, is if we recorded that and could post it, so if people wanted to go back and visit that meeting about the golf course and the swimming pool and all that stuff, we could post that.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think it's all just like what Garrett's doing tonight. It's all recorded, so
yeah.
it's available. Is that correct, Garrett?
Yeah, if it's a public meeting, I would put it up just like I would this one, same way.
Great, thank you. Yeah, no, that was a good idea, Rick. I mean, to connect with him and give them a chance to talk about, what they're seeing coming down the road, and for people to give input and express their concerns.
What was the date for that meeting? Do you remember?
Oh,
it was like 2 or 3 days after the last board meeting. I think it was like a Thursday.
Let me check here.
Bill, I'm seeing more comments in the chat from the person talking about the visit. Do you want me to bring them over so they can just talk rather than chat? All right. All right. You should be able to unmute themselves and clarify what they're asking.
Hi, it's me, Bill. It's Sue Reese. I just remembered that there was going to be some sort of a discussion or meeting or something with Lesher Farms. I couldn't remember the details, but as a major dog park fan, I'm just always curious about what developments are taking place there. And I wondered if you and whoever was involved in that had any updates on where they're at and what's going to happen next there, and if it is going to become part of Lake Oswego completely, or that sort of thing.
Well, the becoming part of Lake Oswego has been put off because the county didn't embrace, I guess, basically their methodology. I think it's inevitable that it is going to be part of Lake Oswego. I think it just isn't going to be quite as fast as they had hoped. The whole discussion is available. I mean, it covered a lot of ground. It covered everything from what they're doing in regards to the golf course and the pool and the rec building on the golf course side, which is Lake Oswego, and then some of their leanings or tendencies where they're looking on the Lesher farm side. So it was a pretty, it covered a lot of turf, that discussion. And again, I don't know if did you look up the date on that?
Yeah, it was on November 16th, which was a Monday evening.
So that would have been the Monday after our board meeting. Our board meeting, I think wasn't the 12th, whatever it was, the 13th maybe. Anyway, to that point, then it's that can be put on the website, and so you could, Sue, you could go ahead and kind of breeze through that and pick out the points that that you have. I don't know that he addressed the dog park. I don't remember that as being part of the discussion, but it could have.
I mean, the last I heard, there were supposed to be 2 more playing fields, so I didn't even know about a golf course and a pool. So that's news to me.
Just real quickly, the school district and city are going $15 million each to put the pool, and the rec center in at the golf course and reconfigure the golf course. They've got some long range goals of maybe putting 2 athletic fields on the Rasique property, which is just the northwest corner of the roundabout. And then it's a multitude of different things that they're going to put in with trails and other things. The meeting was an hour long. And I think we can get that posted on the website. And
thank you. I'm sorry I derailed everything. I was just curious. I'll listen to it when it's posted. You can remove me now.
Well, and I was going to say, and actually the Metro was the one that said, "Yeah, we're not going to approve this," and so the city pulled it back, and they're going to cross all the T's and dot the I's, and then resubmit.
Okay.
Oh,
thank
my
you.
bad. I thought it was the county. It was Metro.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you, Rick.
Well,
certainly.
Thanks, Sue. Okay. And you said there were other questions, Garrett?
No, that was Sue was putting in more questions regarding the same topic.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think we're all good.
We're good. Okay, so we've got another board meeting, a community meeting, CPO meeting on the 12th. I don't know. I don't have my my 3-month rough agenda out here. I don't know if we had talked about any specific speakers. I know Rick had engaged with Ellen from the planning department, county planning department, about the home short-term home rental rulings or guidelines that they've put in place. Rick, you still there? There you are.
Have not heard back from her. And then the only other possible thing we were talking about is the transit plan with all the different shuttles and things they're planning between Tualatin, coming down Borland to Westland, Oregon City, and some of that stuff.
Yeah, and that would, I think that would, you know, the community, I mean, you and I have sat through that at one of the county's work sessions, but it would be good, I think, you know, to have a compressed discussion on that topic for the community, that just to know this is what they're looking at. My impression was that wasn't something that was in the near future, both from a financial standpoint and from all the you know, trying to connect all the dots. But is that how you came away?
Well, they've got phases they're looking at. I think the immediate one is they're pushing on some things that could affect this, and then there's long range plans where they're going to take from Lake Oswego, go down Rosemont Road, and some other things. But I think they're moving fairly quickly with some of the stuff, and trying to tie in SMART, which is the Wilsonville piece, and hooking up some of the other ones that are already in the works. So I think it's probably the sooner the better. And I've got a call into Ellen on that piece too, about when they might want to come back out. If we can give them a date in January, that would be good.
Okay, well, yeah, see what you can do. We'll start with that as a community meeting topic, and see if she can produce. Otherwise, there's other things. What Janet came up with Catherine tonight with the Beeline Foundation was great. That was good stuff. So there's probably other entities out there like that as well that we can bring to the community's attention. Okay, so is there anything else anybody else feels like? I mean, other than getting every neighbor that you come into contact with to vote.
I do.
Yeah, take it, Rich.
I have a suggestion. So it's new business for the student advisory position. Caroline, are you there? Hello. So I was out looking at the birds the other day, as I do every day as I walk around. So what about the possibility of getting students involved in a program with some sort of prize for the winners, 2 or 3 winners, of different species they see in the hamlet.
Huh. For birdies.
Because, you know, you could have links on the website to different bird books, Audubon Society, that kind of stuff. And it would allow the kids, the students, excuse me, to participate and tie them into the hamlet in some other thing, which is, you know, what wildlife we have here.
Yeah.
And we, you know, Ann Coulter and Larry Reed did a lot of work with that historically. So we can have we have a list of what has been turned in previously, but wouldn't it be kind of cool to get that going with the kids?
Yeah, it would.
Students, thank you. So anyway, just a thought.
Yeah.
That a thumbs up, Carolyn? That's like a.
There you
I
go.
can talk to other people that I know that students that live here. My neighbor, the other neighbor. Yeah.
Right. You know, because I don't know what my number is in a lifetime here, but it's a lot of different species. So, you know, get the kids involved, get the students involved. Pardon me.
Yeah. Well, good idea, Rich.
All righty. Thanks. That is it.
Good things come from you out wandering around on the farm.
Well, it happens, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I mean, if there's no more new business, and if I'm not leaving anything out, then we're going to sign this off, and we'll be back back in January. And as board members, don't forget to vote.
So Jane, I have one question for you.
Len had something.
Oh.
Len put his finger up before you spoke. Take it, Len.
Yeah, one question I've got in late, probably missed it, but what is the procedure for voting? How do they vote?
There's going to be a postcard that's going to come to you, and that's going to lay out the process. So either online, which is, well, we assume 90 or 95% of the people are, but you can also get a solid ballot to mail back. But yeah, it's the link is Stafford Hamlet vote. Let's see, is it vote?
StaffordHamlet.com/vote.
Yeah, /vote. And that'll get you to the link that then walks you through the process. And that's what I think some of these folks have referred to, that it wasn't working exactly like it's supposed to, and has, sounds like Katie Wilson, is listening in and making adjustments as this happens. So that would be the only other thing I would say is maybe some kind of place to voice concerns or frustrations if this thing doesn't work, so we can get right after it and make it right. But yeah, that's how it's going to go, Lynn. Yeah, but we talked about it briefly before you showed up, but yeah, that's a good question. It can't hurt to say it again. Rich?
Okay, Jane, did you see the lime get put on the field?
Yeah, so my kids were saying, what if we played a prank on Mr. Fiala and show up like with sleds and
it looked like it, didn't it? So for everybody who doesn't know, we had 25 tons of lime applied to our field last week. So it did look like it snowed at the Fiala place.
It did.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Bill.
You bet. The Comer kids go down and make a snowman out of lime. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay, good talk. All right, nothing else?
Oh, well, I have two things. I just want.
Oh, so close.
No, but I just want to wish you all a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I really want to commend Katie Kreider on her background. She put the sign for the Stafford Hamlet. Did you see that?
I want everybody that's tuning in to know where they are.
What did you do? Did you take that picture and then put it in your background?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I think we should all do that.
You should. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that's great. Really good.
Good
So,
idea.
That's
Thanks.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, back at you. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Garrett, for jumping in here and helping us out tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks,
You guys
Garrett.
have a good end to your 2020.
There you go. Looking forward
Hopefully it
to-
gets better
yeah,
from
2021.
here.
It can
Well,
only
it
get
couldn't
better.
get much worse.
Oh, awesome.
Are the teen kids in the background going, is it done yet, Dad? Do you get out about payroll? Is it time to go upstairs?
I locked them in their room.
Oh, okay.
They're just up there. Who knows what they're doing?
All right.
All right.
Good job. Anyway,
You
thanks,
guys have a good
guys. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good night.